Got a spark and a passion so true. Marlene Motivates is the right move for you. Her purpose is clear. Her heart's a guiding light to help you reach higher ground so everything is bright. It's encouragement, support for the wellness of mind, body, and spirit, so you can open new doors through pop-up lives and motivational bros too. Regular videos, Marlene is always there for you. Feeling down, feeling lost, need a helping hand. Marlene is here to inspire across the digital land, sharing her journey, her wisdom, her grace, your own pace and true place. It's encouragement, support from her soul to yours for the wellness of mind, body, and spirit, so you can open new doors through pop-up lives and all of these and all right too. Regular videos, Marlene is always there for you. Hey everybody, it's Marlene Motivates, and welcome to today's live stream. And today it's Financial Friday, and I have with me my wonderful co-host, Lisa J. Stocks. Hi Lisa, welcome.
Hello, Marlene. I'm
Yeah, I introduce yourself to everybody.
okay. I'm hearing a bit of feedback. I don't know why,
Oh,
because I'm on the phone. I don't think it's me.
oh, and is it me doing feedback?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, when you're talking, I'll just mute my mic. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I am Lisa J. Stocks, and I am going on 3 years here on YouTube, and I just have been just it doesn't sound like that for me. Okay, thanks, Joe. Um, I have been here sharing my personal investing journey of how I am trying to build wealth and strive for stability for myself and my family. And yeah, I think I don't know if I could drop down and come back because I'm hearing a lot of background noise.
Okay, okay. No problem, Lisa. You can
Okay,
back.
let me try to do that and click
Okay,
it back in. Okay.
okay. Sure, no problem. Wait for Lisa to go out and come back. Welcome, everybody. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Financial Friday. I'm Marlene Motivates, your life coach. Hey, Joe. Hey, everybody in the background. Welcome. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe to my channel or Lisa's channel. I have pinned it below. Today, we're going to have an amazing conversation about creating. Um, Mindset and growth strategies for future generations. Let's see if that's better. Is that better for you, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, yes.
good.
Better now. Okay, sorry about that.
Nope, no problem. So I was just introducing the title of today's live stream, creating a growth strategy and a mindset for future generations. And I thought this was an awesome topic, Lisa, because, like what you talk about, investing and things like that. I think it's important that we have a conversation about what will happen if we don't prepare, your kids or whoever you're responsible for. Um, Financially. Um, do you have anything you want to start off the discussion with?
Yes, definitely an important topic. I recently saw different videos and headlines about how many people in their 80s are still currently working. Now, we don't know statistically how many of those people want to work and how many people have to work, but there is definitely a percentage there that has to work in order to make ends meet and are kicking themselves because they could have been doing things differently when they were much younger.
Yes, 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 yes. I so agree. Hi, your favorite CEO. Thank you so much for the gifts. I really appreciate it. Okay, Lisa, let's start off by first talking about the past you versus the future you. This is something that when I was thinking about this topic, I think it's important for us to think about how you started off in the beginning of your financial journey and then where you are now. I'm going to start off with myself and then I'll give Lisa to think about what she wants to talk about. But I remember when about 17, 18 years old, and I was thinking, Lisa, that $100,000, I'm rich. I thought that, and I said I get myself $100,000, then I can retire. I really was not, prepared at all for, cost of living increases and so many other things that come with adulthood. And I wish that I had been more prepared. Like, my parents would tell me a few things here or there, but I wasn't ready. So my past self thought I knew what I needed, but then my future self says, "Girl, you got to get yourself in gear. You got some work to do. You got some work to do." So, Lisa, what do you think about that? Do you think the past you that you will be in the future are aligned, or are they completely different?
Well, listen, I've learned and I've grown and I have become better. So definitely different. Me, if I would have, for whatever reason, if I would have hit the lotto at 25, um, it might not have been the best time in life. To hit it at 35 would have been 40, a better time in my life when I could manage it better, because people, we see the stories all the time of people that hit the lottery and blow through the money so quickly. They go and they're buying the houses and the cars for themselves and their family members, things that it's not just that one time fee. You then have maintenance and taxes and a huge lawn and electric bill and all the things that come with it, heating and all the other expenses. They're taking their friends on vacation and this, that, and the other, and they're just depleting the money, depleting it, and not making the strides to just take little bits of it. If you don't want to go back to corporate America and have to work wherever, if it's not corporate, wherever you work, then you I definitely in my 20s would not have had the knowledge to manage it as well as I would just even, like I said, 10 years later. And so, yeah, I've learned a lot. I've changed a lot. And yeah, I would have been in the same boat with you, thinking $100,000 is a lot of money, a half a million is a lot of money. And now when I'm thinking about, hey, I'm going to stop working and potentially my grandfather lived into his 80s. I don't know how long I'm going to need for that money to last. And yeah, just
Yeah, yeah. I think the maturing part, and also how you are growing. The more knowledge you gain, the more that you see, the more you start wanting more when you learn more. I think that's the difference for me in my mindset financially, from who I was when I was younger to who I am now, because now I have knowledge. I know what I can style. So I think that is the reason for the difference. in my answer from when I was, like you said, like 20 to who I am now.
And you brung this up before. And it's clear we all know we're not going to be able to just keep on working and working and working. But we also know that our bodies are going to change, our needs are going to change, and most likely our income, because we can't go out there and work that full-time job, our income is going to decrease. And so we just have to get retirement ready and realize that, you know, driving, caring for ourselves, cooking, things, washing, the going down to the basement. My washer and dryer is in my basement. Like those are things that I see older family members can no longer do for themselves, you know? And so we have to be ready for the expenses and the, what comes along with it. And you've said this before, like you thought about if you're going to need money for a health, home health aid or extra things like that. And yeah, we have to have our mind around all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that when you're young, you're not really thinking about one day I'll be old. Oh, maybe I won't be able to walk and things like that. I think when you're young, you're like, I'm invincible. Like, I'm young, I'm strong, I'm good. You don't think about I don't want to say a decline, but you don't think about one day you may have different needs than you have when you're young. So it's just something for us to keep that in mind.
hmm And it should be easy for us to keep in mind if you have a grandma, a great grandma, you know they're not doing what you can do.
That's so true, Lisa. So let's start talking about, I wanted to do this creating a growth strategy and a mindset for future generations. And my reason behind this conversation today is because thinking back, I want to ask myself those questions like, was I really for life, for adulthood? Was I prepared with the financial literacy and awareness? And I know for me, I think I was a little prepared, but I don't think I knew all the ins and outs. I knew about, there was light bill, water bill, and these bills, but I was not prepared for the things like one day you will probably need a home health aid, and one day you won't be able to work, so how are you going to be able to replace that income and things like that. I didn't have conversations like that with my parents or other adults. So it wasn't until I got to be financially responsible that I said, what's going to happen when that happens for me? So that's one of the questions that I am like, trying to prepare, people who are in my family who are younger than me, having these conversations to shift the mindset that, while you're young and while you're capable of doing things, thinking, okay, if I can't work, what's going to happen? If I'm not able to do this, if I'm not able to do that, you always want to think about the what ifs.
hmm I was very unprepared, and yes, um, I'm trying to change for the next generations and make sure that they are prepared. So I like when I'm out and about with my daughter, I'm always trying to just talk to her. We're in the car, just share some extra things with her that I could, if it wasn't that I had the presence of mind that I want to take these little times to teach. I could, just forget about it and just have the radio on and just not be paying attention. But I take the time to let her know about things and so that she can plan realistically when the time comes and not have things sneak up on her. Because I had no idea how to do anything. I didn't know how to I didn't understand credit cards. I didn't have the presence of mind to be planning for the car taxes, for the registration, for renew your license. These are things, expenses that should not sneak up on you because there is a date on there. You should know, okay, you're going to need extra money because this is going to be due, and I wasn't around people that were talking about things like that, that were planning, that were budgeting, that were, um, And so I don't want her to be like that and everything seems to sneak up on her because yeah, mommy's not going to be here to just be digging you out of your issues when you didn't pay attention and now such and such is due. And everything is not perfect. Like I don't know exactly when I'm going to need new tires and how much they're going to cost, but at least I have enough sense to say, "Hey, I need to have money put aside for whatever maintenance is going to come up because something is going to come up."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I like that you are in that mindset, and that's why these conversations on Financial Friday are so important. Getting more people to drop those seeds of empowerment, like, okay, am I ready? Am I planning? Do I even think about those things? Yourself ready, and I think that's an important thing, is to be ready. Most people are not ready for the like, what you call it, like some kind of crisis, like losing a job, getting sick, just cost of living increases, just the day to
Mhm,
day. They're not really prepared for that, so
mhm,
it's having conversations like, I even was talking to my niece the other day. Do you know how much groceries cost in a week? You know,
mhm.
do you know? I,
They say a
oh,
family of 4, it costs $1,000. Marlene, I went to Costco a few days ago. I spent the most money I've ever spent in my life
why? Why, Lisa? Why?
because everything is so expensive.
You said in your
In
life.
my life, I've never my grocery bill, the starting number is a 4. One trip to the grocery store. Now, I've been at about 280, 310, 320, but yeah, over $400.
um, yeah, Lisa. Yeah. I'm like,
And trust me, it's not like my car couldn't fit the groceries. And it's not that I'm buying, it's not all salmon and steak. I mean, I'm trying to be mindful and I still spent that much. So let me tell you, I made an announcement that every single thing we need to be mindful. If anything, you're not going to get to it. We need to, put it in a freezer bag, make a plan because I do not want any waste. Don't be heavy handed on the laundry detergent. None
yeah,
of it.
cutbacks, right? Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very important thing, is also, telling future generations to not waste. I know when I was younger, my mom used to be like, every time you turn on this light switch, that's money coming out of mom and dad's pocket. And I was like, I never thought about that. I was like, she's like, how do you think? I was like, I
Mhm,
don't know what I thought. But,
mhm,
letting your children or people in your household become informed of, things. And like you said, not wasting. Okay.
mhm, mhm.
So,
Well, my youngest daughter, she grew up her entire life in
oh, your mic went out. I think she probably got a phone call. She'll be back.
I did. I was trying to ignore it. It's my daughter, actually. I hope she doesn't need me because 'cause I'm talking on using the phone that is my working phone. I should have put
Oh,
you on the non-working phone, but,
okay.
she'll have to
Okay.
call. I hope she has if she needs something, I hope she calls someone else. Um, but I forget what I was saying.
I think we were talking about all of the what you call it. We're talking about things like not wasting money, and preparing, telling people in our families like don't waste, and all of those things. So,
Yeah, yeah, I don't know where I was going with it, but we can go on to something else.
yeah, on to something else. Okay, so first question that I have for you, Lisa. What what did your parents do that you refused to do financially? Is there something that you thought about, like, my mom or my dad did this, or maybe it was your grandparents or aunt did financially that drove you crazy and you said that will never be me. I know I have mine.
I think well, I think using not the credit cards. I think that I saw a poor example of use the credit cards and just pay the minimum, or you even using store cards was also a thing that I saw going on. And there, yeah, those store cards are worse than the major credit cards. So I never needed to be in a place where I was, Macy's and New York and Company and Express. Though that's where I used to go to get my work clothes, and carrying balances on those cards was even worse than just using my MasterCard at the time. But just not having that money mindset of avoiding interest. I think that was a big one that's been around for some time now. Uh, there's newer things that we've incorporated, like using our high yield savings account and stuff, but for a long time, I saw my family using credit, to buy cars, to buy furniture, and they probably were spending a lot of extra on it. And so that's something that once I had an understanding of what was going on, I definitely did not I wanted to not repeat any of that.
Mhm. I can feel that, yeah, because I used to see my mom and my dad go into I don't know if you have it, but in our hair area, we had Montgomery Wards. And my parents used to
Yeah.
go crazy getting stuff in Montgomery Wards, this to stereo, this or and I was like, but we don't need this. So I think I took from that yes, you will buy the things that you need or the things that are important in the house, but all of the extra stuff, for me, I would rather that whatever two, three, $400 and put it into some investments than to have, a upgraded TV or things. I don't know. I guess I don't. That's not a important thing for me. Like maybe it was for the baby boomer generation.
Mhm. I think in my area, Sears was like a department store that was not far from where I lived. And as I recall, I think they were like notorious for having credit and asking for a very small amount. And so, yeah, drag you into paying all that interest and just a little tiny payment every month.
Yeah. Well, I think like something my mom probably bought like 20, it took her 20 years to pay it. Started thinking about you know how much interest she must have paid by the time she paid off that whatever it was
Mhm.
been outdated. I don't know how many years it was been outdated, and she still just had for. And when she finally paid it off, guess what? Hey, you need a new
Another.
one. Yeah, back in the
One day I was watching like a court show, like People's Court or one of those court shows, and there was a dispute between two people about a gaming system that they had bought at like at a rent a center or one of those type of places. And my daughter was overhearing the show and hearing the numbers that they were saying, and she's like, that this unexpected teaching moment here,
yeah,
because she's like, "That gaming system costs, say, 3.99." And I'm like, "Yeah, it costs 3.99 if we go to the GameStop and we buy it outright. You go to these places and they're like, you pay $25 a week for an extended amount of time. By the time you're done paying for it, you've paid $850 or, something drastically more." And so she didn't realize that, and that, these are the type of things that if you don't know, I understand you may want or need something, but, at all costs, you have to strive to find a different way than to take payday loans, go to those type of places where you're going to be paying so much more. And yeah. it's just a cycle. It's just a cycle.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I see many in my area because I live in the South, so it's like almost on every corner we see these places for payday loans, and they wouldn't be in business if they weren't making money. So I can tell that a lot of people are in that trap, and I can understand why. You're not making enough money, so back in you go, and by the time you pay it off, you got to go back because you don't have enough money. So you're on that wheel.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, let me ask you this question, Lisa. So after that, what have you shifted since, the things that you refuse to do? What have you shifted like from what your parents did or, other people that you saw to what are you doing now to be more financially responsible?
Well, the things I share, a lot of the things that I share on my channel, I was fortunate enough to, get my life together and buy a house at a younger age than my mother did. We grew up renting. Um, Usually I grew up primarily with my mother and my grandmother. And so it wasn't until I was about 13 when my mom got married. And then a few years later, probably when I was about 19 or so, she bought her first home.
Mm.
But just buying a home, focusing on my investments, just prioritizing not not living above my means, and just striving to keep things keep things manageable. So um
Yeah.
those are it's just basic things that you don't realize how much it means, when you're just not paying attention and just letting all these things kind of just build up and just feel like you don't. It's just about that same money mindset that we're always talking about. When it's not there, and you're just not putting any priority into it, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Right, exactly. And I love that for you, Lisa. I'm so happy for you and so many other people. Many people grew up in the apartment lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just shifting your mindset to think, I want to own. I want to be able to, lock in to say, I know that this is going to be the amount that I'm going to pay every month by having a mortgage instead of you don't really know when you live in the apartment life. It's just something to think about. And those are the things that I know I have shifted and had conversations with nieces and nephews and cousins that it's a shot in the dark. You don't know when you're in an apartment. Okay, yeah, this year, but what if they go up $200 or $300? Will you be able to afford that? Or start thinking about like, but if I this is going to be what I'm going to be locked into. You know,
Mhm.
I try to drop those seeds of awareness and empowerment on the younger generations so that they can start thinking, when I get to be older, do I want a home or do I want to be in an apartment, do I want a townhouse, just
Mhm.
having those
Mhm.
to let them know that they can have those things because I think sometimes we become limited into what we think we can have. We think because of our upbringing, this is all I can do. You could do better if you want to.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that that's what people don't realize, like, I can do that too. And I actually was talking to my daughter a few days ago. I don't know why this came up, but I'm sure it wasn't anything extreme that I said. Probably I said something like, when I have a house, I'm gonna, have a garden or something like that. And the person, this is before I was a homeowner, and the person that I said this in front of, said, "How do you know you're gonna have a house?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I can see I have I'm ambitious. I am working. I know this is a goal that I have for my life. I do not plan on continuing to rent, and I was renting in a not so great part of town. I do
Mm,
not intend on continuing to live here as my daughter grows up in this little apartment. I knew I had that goal for myself. Now, I'm not saying I was gonna, move that far away from where I was living or have any, major large house or anything, but I knew I was going to own something. I was going to get out of that apartment. And so for me to just say when I have a house, for you to shoot me down just for saying that, they just, yeah, not my type of people, Marlene.
Yeah.
And that one little comment really showed me that.
Yeah. People really show you who they are when you start talking about things financially. For me, you know, Lisa, you and I have had the conversation that we're kind of luxury ladies. We like luxury.
A little bit, a little bit.
Splurge, and there's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes other people will make you feel like you're doing something wrong by wanting to go to. They're like, "Oh, that place, that dinner is $100, or that purse is $500," and I'm like, "And." It's like it's my money. It's like I don't understand how people who are your relatives or friends or just associates want to try to count your money. That's
Mhm.
so strange to me.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to save my money and buy something outright, I'm going to do it. And it's going to be within reason. I don't have a $12,000 Birkin bag. That is not within reason for, for what I earn and for what my savings and investments are. If I was a multimillionaire, then that would be okay. But I think what I treat myself to is within reason, and it's not going to be my investments are not going to sacrifice because of it. And I share a lot. I don't share my full net worth on my channel, but I always tell people, listen, my the value of um my investments, my property is far out, is far in excess of the cars in the driveway or the clothes and the handbags and the jewelry.
Right. Exactly. It's like people need to stay out of other people's business, you know? But that's a conversation for another day. But let's shift by talking about
when,
heal.
when Marlene's about to get to something juicy.
Yeah, I was like, enough tea. Okay. So, healing generational brokenness. Now, I know there's a lot of brokenness in many families across the world, and they avoid having these hard conversations about, when people pass away, like what's going to happen if I pass away, or this person passes away, this person passes away. Like, what are, your end of life needs, getting that medical paperwork for saying, a trust that this and that. Just having those conversations. I know there are so many people who's like, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, what does that mean? You want me to pass away? And I'm just like, that's so ignorant, because you have to think that
Mhm.
yes, one day will you will pass. Like, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but are you going to leave that on your relatives? Are you going to leave that on your kids? Or are you going to handle it and be responsible? And I think that's the thing about creating generational brokenness that I know I wanted to shift in my generation. My parents did a little things, like my mom and dad had a will and things, but I wanted to elevate that. um, what are your thoughts, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, we may not want to talk about it, but you have to be prepared. And I've shared this before. I've lost my dad already a few years back in 2017, and I was the executor for you know everything related to what was going on with him. I'm his oldest child, and he brung me. He had brung over to my house. It was a small notebook, maybe about a little half an inch binder with the papers in there. And he told me, if anything happens, this is all the information. You keep this book here at your house. I said, okay. And I I never read it cover to cover, until the time came.
Right.
And I just like to share that story from time to time because if you are called upon to take on these responsibilities, and you need to know where the paperwork is, and you need to read it, every last word of it, and while that person is here, and you can say, I disagree with this, I don't think I can take on these responsibilities as far as the answering the medical questions, because it's going to be too late. Once time comes, say if they're in an accident or something, and if you feel like you're not strong enough to manage, if you disagree with something that's in there, there's not going to be, and once they're gone, there's no time to discuss. And if you don't even have an understanding of what your responsibilities are, it's just not a good thing. So read through the paperwork, have an understanding. If you feel like you have a sibling that's not married, or something like that, that you feel like you are going to be that person that's going to be called upon if something is to happen, then you have to be ready, and you have to know where are the accounts, where is the life insurance, where is the paperwork. If they have property, so many I've in my as far as my real estate, so many houses I looked at, and the house is in probate, and the people are arguing about it, and who knows when I can have a closing on it. I heard that story so many times. So there's just so
Yeah.
many things. I'm no expert in it, but like you're saying, a will, a trust, just be ready, and make sure you're not leaving any financial burden, any struggle, and you know what you're called upon to do. It is important, and no one wants to talk about it, but it's part of life. It's part of life, and it might. My aunt died in her 40s, my dad died in his 50s, so you don't know when your time is going to be. So you need to be ready. You need to be ready.
Right, exactly. And that's what I tell, my nieces and my siblings and other people that are in my life that are really close to me. Any time something happens to me, this is where everything is, and they none of them want to talk about it. They're like, I don't want to hear it. I was like, I don't understand. I would, if somebody said that to me, I would be like, let me see that folder, let me see that binder, what you got in there, because
Mhm.
don't you want to know what I want, like my end of life stuff? And I think that that becomes a really big problem, Lisa, at the end of life. And when you're saying, I don't want to be on a ventilator, I don't want this, I don't want that. And then, like, oh, yes, you are. Yes, she is. And see, but nobody wants to have those conversations. But
Mhm. That's why I was touching on, you have to have the right person. Like my mother, when my grandmother was ill towards the end of her time here, my mother was the oldest in this state where my grandmother was. So she was the oldest local child. So she was going to be the one to be called upon to answer the questions. My mother is not the person. My mother is
I,
not the one to have to answer the questions. So then she's trying to get me on the phone to talk to people, and they're like, "We're not allowed to talk to you. You're not the designated, you are." And so these are the things that I've been through already that have had me to gain some knowledge, and to want to share these things, because yeah, um you need to know. You need a strong person that can manage certain things and is willing to follow what you have specified. And it might not be the person that you choose. You might have to go on to a secondary person if they are unwilling, or just you realize, yeah, this person may not be strong enough to manage all of this stuff when the time comes.
right, right. So it's just having those conversations about the paperwork, and also making sure that, okay, if something happens unexpectedly, what do they want of their life? Having those, and what are the costs? Who's going to cover them? Have they been paid for by insurance? These are all financial important questions that you should
Mhm.
know. Okay. So, okay, here's another one, Lisa. You ready for this one? Okay. How can we create in our lives? if we're passive. And I know that there's a lot of people that they don't have any conversations when it comes to financial things, but all they ever complain about is that they don't have money. So how can people create this growth mindset and an elevated lifestyle if they're passive? I want to hear your thoughts.
If they're passive, I don't know if I understand the question,
Like
but,
they're
I think this ties back to, like, what I said about how you and I were in Daryl's, live chat one day, and you were saying, like, I think it was 8 or 9 years, you were working on a plan for, like, you have to put you can't just say, "Oh, yeah, early retirement, I want that." I buying another property, I wanna do that. It's just not gonna fall in your lap. You gotta sit down. You have to get on the investment calculator. You have to be, building a plan here, and that ties to budgeting um, budgeting, investing, and not just and I was investing from when I was a teenager, when I started working full time. Investing with knowledge, investing with standards of the performance, having a full understanding. And these are the things that I try to share through my content because it's one thing to just say, yeah, I do that, but are you so you're not doing it the way I'm doing it. You're not doing it the way Marlene is doing it. You think you're doing something over there. And you know how like people say sometimes it's good to be um, the like Larry Jones, I was watching him recently. He was saying sometimes it's good to be at the least influential person in the room and be in the room with people that are multimillionaires and have so much more knowledge because that gives you a chance to say, hey, okay, I need to step up my game. I thought I was doing something, but you get around certain people and it'll show you if you're always with a lower people that don't have
uh,
so much success going on for them. I don't know. I'm trying
lower
to choose. I'm trying to choose my
interest.
words, and I'm having a little struggle there. But I hope y'all are understanding what I'm saying. Uh, when I'm around certain people, I feel like I am. Yeah, I'm doing so much better than them, and it's good for me sometimes to be around people that I can look up to, get inspiration from, and make myself want to push myself a little harder.
Right. I always say that I don't want to be the person that has the most money in the room. I don't like that feeling because sometimes it gets to be like everybody's looking at you. Well, then you pay for it. I don't want that responsibility. I want to be the person that has the problem, not the least, but I don't want to be the the one everybody says, yeah, go to Marlene. Like I'm sure you don't want to be like, oh, go to Lisa. No, we don't want somebody that we can look up to, we can learn from, we can grow with. And that's why I always say your circle of people, it really does matter. If you're
Mhm.
around people with a broke mindset, like literally broke or mentally broken, until you do the work as an adult, you're going to be, not in a good position to where you need financially.
I was chatting with someone a couple months back, and we were doing an investing challenge. I was leading the investing challenge, and I was after chatting back and forth with this person, they were like, I'm cutting out my Sunday brunches and this and that because I need my $10. I need my whatever amounts of money to keep up with the investing challenge along with you. And in chatting back and forth with the person, on Sundays after church, they were going out to brunch and picking up the bill for themselves as long and their friends. And so the bill was usually like, $100, $80. And it wasn't until I went back and forth with them a few times that I realized that they were paying the whole bill. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I got some people I inspired her to to cut the friend group off, like, "No, I'm not I don't pay the whole bill anymore."
Yeah. Yeah. You. me, but yeah. I you need those type of friends, somebody who will pay for you sometimes. It can't be, the using thing, that's something that many people struggle with having those conversations of, I wouldn't say cutting people off, but having those conversations like it's not going to be my responsibility to bail you out of uncomfortable situations. You,
I don't remember what their career was, maybe a lawyer or something where she had a more substantial income than her friends, and so I think that's how this all came about. I thought they were just going to a really expensive restaurant, and her portion was that amount, but then,
mm, yeah. Then that's a whole different scenario. And I think that's something about, also teaching the younger people or the people that are in your family, your circle of friends who, become your family, having those conversations like, how do you handle this or how do you handle that? And getting ideas because it can be difficult sometimes to get ourselves out of such sticky situations where we've enabled people and done things for them that we really shouldn't, that we should really say no. Like, I cannot financially afford to take care of you, and that's not my responsibility. Like, I'm sorry, you need to do better. That's a hard thing. Like, it even makes my stomach hurt sometimes to talk about those things. It, it makes me a little uncomfortable to say that because I wouldn't say that I'm shy, but I don't, when I know somebody needs and I know I can help them, I struggle with that. Saying no to that when I know I can. So I have put in my budget like limits. I will help you up to this, and then after that I can no longer help you.
mhm, mhm. But yeah, all this is good. It's good to have a plan,
Mhm.
and whatever comes up, you'll be ready for it. But discipline, consistency. We need to just bring all of this in order to grow and really make sure that we're um keeping building security for ourselves. And so you're not ever going to compromise your own personal security over trying to help others. So,
Well, Lisa, sometimes I hate to say it, Lisa, but sometimes some people are. Some
oh,
people
okay. No.
I'm not saying me and I'm not saying you, but
Mhm.
I that there are some people in my audience, and I'm not saying it to embarrass anybody. These conversations are to bring awareness and to like, maybe I need to start doing something different. That's what me and Lisa are trying to in these conversations, hope to help people something different. I need to be cutting people off, or I need to be, cutting that out, or not, going to things that I know that I can't afford. I think
Yeah,
that's an important conversation.
I think those days are behind me. You know how they say, fool me once. I've been fooled already, and I'm done. I'm done with certain things.
Yeah. I have a different circle of people now, but at one period of time I was there. Um, let's go to this point right here. Okay, we have to participate in that the process of helping ourselves. And what you were saying earlier about there were certain things that you wanted to do and etc. But there's a lot of people who just sit on the sidelines and just talk about I want this and I want that, but they're not really doing anything. So that's something that I had to say to myself too, because I had to get really specific about this is what I want because I'm planning for my retirement. Anybody who is in my circle knows that already. I have my plan. I'm serious about it. It's going to be 8 years or less. I'm hoping less. I'm hoping for less, but I have my plan down to the cent. Okay, this is exactly the dollar amount that I need in order to retire. So, back to this I had to learn to participate in my own success, my own process. So it's not just saying I want to do something, but what does that look like? What do I need to be doing? What is my number? So, thing to get you the wheels turning maybe in somebody's mind that I need to start having a number in mind. What's your
Mhm.
number? Mhm.
What's my number?
No, no,
I'm
no,
not
asking.
oh, 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 oh.
I'm just saying for me, I
Yeah.
never had a number. I was always saying, "Oh, I want to retire." You know how you just say things, "I want to retire. Oh, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of that." But I never had got myself actually there to say, not just I want to retire, like vaguely saying it, but like I'm going to retire and I'm doing the work.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah, you have to have a plan. And, if you don't, if you haven't even gotten to it's sad that so many people are so old, much further into life and they don't have a plan. They don't know how much their social security check potentially will be. They just are not making a plan for themselves. And so that's where you can be the day can roll around and you are in your 70s or 80s and have those financial gaps that you need to fill. And we don't know that our kids or grandkids are going to be there to do it for us. So,
Yep. So we have to do it for ourselves. Okay. So we got two more questions, and then we're going to come to the end. So here's one, Lisa. What you do now affects future generations. So breaking down what needs to change, improve to get where you need to be. So how would you think you shifted your mindset when it comes to that, with your children about how like what you're trying to pass on and create for future generations?
well, all you can do is go forward. Someone has to be the first in the family to get a handle of um, how to invest better, how to have a better understanding when it comes to taxes. Um, Actually, more about my family and different circumstances when my my grandmother had was no longer with us. This is on my dad's side. My grandfather, in his older age, married another woman and did not have, any will and paperwork and things in place. And, anyways, after that happened, my aunts, she gave this is my aunt on my dad's side. Excuse me. She gave all of us, a warning that we don't want this to happen again. We see what we are going through here. We this that's something that happened that, you know, made uh our most elder family member say, "Hey, this is a family meeting that I am making this announcement now. I don't want this to happen anymore. So we have to make sure that we have a will, we have something established, we have the right, beneficiaries listed on different things because this is ridiculous." So things did not turn out in our favor. And I don't, and if my grandfather knew, I think he would have done things differently. But anyways, let me get back to what I was saying. That all we can do is move forward and learn from the lessons um, that come about as things go. And sometimes it's those bad things that give you those lessons. And so all you could do is hopefully relay them to everyone around you, friends, family, whoever. And those who are smart, will take that and implement it and learn from someone else's challenges and not have to go through everything themselves. So
Right. Exactly. Because it's not the same thing, but something similar happened to a relative that had worked their whole life, passed in his 80s, and he had zero money. There was no money in the bank. There wasn't even any money to bury him, and it had to be a scramble. Everybody in the family had to contribute to his funeral. So it was like, that's a nightmare. Uh, I vowed that day. That was the day I was like literally on the computer, like in my early 20s. Okay, we need to get ourselves some life some life insurance. Um,
Mhm.
so sometimes, unfortunately, through things that happen in our families or close friends, that we say, man, that's not good. That's
Mhm.
messed up. Yeah, it's
Yeah, but these are things, like I said, yeah, Christmas is not sneaking up on us. Birthdays are not sneaking up on us. There's no reason. Once somebody, even if you don't have the presence of mind to say, let's get the life insurance policy when the person is in their 20s, their 50s, 60s, 70s, you know we're not going to be here forever. Why wasn't this taken care of? So I can't say that I have much sympathy for people that wind up in that situation, even if they just put aside maybe 12,000 or so, 12, 15,000. You're going to need something like that unless you're going to, go the other route of not doing, cremation or a different, something
right.
more affordable. You have to have a reasonable amount put aside. So,
Yeah. You have to do something, you know. So, okay, we're here at the last point. And this is a little bit of a juicy one, but what concerns do you have for the older you, Lisa? Do you got some concerns? I know I do.
Marlene, I just the same thing, the same things that we're always talking about. Is Social Security going to be enough? No, Social Security. I already know Social Security is not going to be enough. Everything put together, the pensions, the Social Security,
Mhm.
the length of years potentially I may want to draw from my retirement accounts in later in life. Is it going to be enough? And could my circumstances be that extreme that, um, the costs come about very drastically and early? I have a friend that's had some health issues and has wound up on disability in her 40s. I know someone else, similar situation, in their 60s. And you see there's some people that are still driving and living alone and doing so many things at much older ages. But I also, have a few examples in my life where I've seen that people much younger have run into uh, unexpected issues. And so, you know, we want to plan, we want to do the best that we can, but if I was suddenly unable to work anymore and not going to contribute to my investment accounts anymore in the way that I have been, that would be, a drastic difference in what my future would look like. So we don't know. There's some things in there that we'll just never know. So I would say I just want to work as hard as I can while I'm able, and be responsible.
Right. My thing is that I don't want, when I am older, to have to worry about debt, how I'm going to pay for it, and leaving my responsibilities, like planning for my passing, having that to fall on to my other relatives and things like that, and making sure I've done all of the work, gone to lawyers and things like that, to talk about what I personally want. So when it happens, everything is in black and white. There's going to be no room for doubt. Like, what Marlene wants, because she has said it is right here in black and white. So even if people may not like it, that's going to be what it is. So that's where I am, getting myself ready for the question marks, because nobody really knows. You're fine today walking around. You never know, you could end up in a wheelchair. Will you be able to afford, even simple things like, can you turn your house into a house that is livable with a wheelchair? Could you have a ramp? And that was something that I added to my house recently, like just in case I put it in a wheelchair ramp, just in case. If it's not for me, maybe it's for somebody who comes to visit me.
Mhm.
Just preparing for the inevitable, because I don't plan on moving to another home. So if I'm going to be here for the long haul, I don't want later on in life that's going to be much more expensive to put in that that ramp. And like if I need it in 15 or 20 years, I was like, just get it out the way.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I'm thinking about for the older me, making sure I've checked the boxes.
Yeah. And I mean, nothing we can do is going to be perfect, but just try your best. Don't just sit around and make a low effort on things that could really make our lives easier in the future. I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing is not perfect. I don't know, but I'm striving to do the best that I can. And when I evaluate and see a place where I can push harder and make some improvement, I do it. And at the end of the day, I just want to know that I truly put the effort in. And that's what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people are not putting in the amount of effort that they truly could do if they just open their eyes.
And and I think, Lisa, honestly, people don't open their eyes until they start getting tired. Like you get tired of working, or you get sick or something. That's when the awareness, I think, really comes. It sets in, like, I'm not going to be able to do this work thing much longer. And that's when you get really clear. I don't know about you, Lisa, but for me, I got really clear one day. I was like, at this job, I was like, I ain't ready to go today, and I can't. I think that's what's getting me really like serious about my finances, right? Because I'm ready to go today.
Mhm. Mhm. I was on some
Hey, serious.
I popped up on someone's live and they asked this question of me like um the way they worded it, like, was there a particular like traumatic thing that happened to you? And I was like, yes, I keep getting laid off. That is the traumatic thing that happened that made me say, hey, yeah, we need to get our lives together over here.
I agree, Lisa. There always is something. So this is my last point, and then I'm gonna ask you to leave your final words. So I would just want to leave the audience with this thought: ignoring your financial situation is not the answer. It does not make it better. So learn from me. Learn from other people, maybe that you may know. Don't ignore if there's something that you need to be doing financially, if there's some conversations that you need to have with your kids or relatives, if there's some paperwork, don't overwhelm yourself. What I did is I wrote down a list of the things that I needed to do, and I tackled them one by one when I can afford it, and find out how much it actually costs, and then check it off one by one. Don't overwhelm yourself, but take care of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So your final thoughts, Lisa?
Well, on that topic, I agree with you. We can't ignore our debt. We can't ignore inflation. We have to really be mindful because our money will be eaten up, and that's what I mean about checking on the performance of your investments. Just don't be like, yeah, I'm in the 401k. I contribute to that. You got to dig deeper. You got to know that you are really maximizing your money because yeah, it's hard out here. It's hard out here. And even if you don't want to do it to the T every single month, maybe every third month or take 3 months and sit down, do that budget. And maybe that will really highlight some things to you that you've been missing. And so that you can make some improvements, call up the cable provider or whatever's in there, the phone, make some evaluate some things, cut some things, see what you can do in order to, put that investment into yourself, into instead of into things that are not contributing to building wealth and it helping you to advance in any way. But it's been a great conversation as always, Marlene. Thank you for having me on, and I look forward to our next chat together.
I really do, Lisa. I thank you. And I thank everybody for coming through. If I missed any comments, I will definitely answer them in the replay. But thanks everybody who supported. I appreciate all of you guys. Have the financial conversations with yourself. Do the work so that you are not sorry later. I am Marlene Motivates, and this is Lisa J. Stocks. I'm going to pin her channel in the comment section and in the description box if you guys want to go over and connect with her for amazing content. Go over there and support her. I know that she will definitely answer your questions as well. So thank you, Lisa, and thank you everybody else, and we'll see you guys on the next Financial Friday. It's not next week, but the week after that, I will be over on Lisa's channel. Okay. See you guys then. You wanted to say something, Lisa?
No, no, good night, guys. And I did want to say something. On Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, tune in for my live stream. I'll be having a 3-year anniversary.
Ooh, congratulations in
Thank
advance.
you.
Yeah. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.